AEWWE. Then, now, probably never.
Hold up. It's a black-owned business in the wrestling business? Pro wrestling bits, let's go!
Tony Khan's free agent spending spree on former WWE talent has started to manifest itself in creating WWE 2.0. Suddenly, viewers of AEW television are expected to know the origin stories of the Undisputed Era, or the feud Adam Cole had with Mr. Charisma Kyle O'Reilly in NXT. They're expected to know that Bryan Danielson headlined WrestleMania, that CM Punk never headlined WrestleMania, that WWE's Roddy Piper headlined a WrestleMania, that Triple H's signature weapon is a sledgehammer, or that The Miz is more famous than MJF. Now, don't get me wrong, these WWE references have been a lot of fun, and there's definitely crossover between WWE and AEW audiences. But with all these WWE references slowly creeping into AEW around the same time the roster is being dominated by former WWE stars, I can easily see this becoming a problem. The same type of problem that sabotaged TNA. WWE recently released a scourge of veteran NXT staffers behind the scenes, which could create a temptation for AEW to sign them as well. I'm all for it if it helps with AEW's problems with structure and quality control, but with AEW already starting to resemble WWE in front of the camera, do they really need to create that same dynamic behind the scenes? AEW is slowly starting to emulate WWE in almost every way. From its roster construction to growing WWE references, AEW even crowned a black woman as champion like WWE has. But sadly, Jade Cargill and her all-world physique is the exception that proves the rule when it comes to black excellence in AEW. Hell, some AEW officials were even kicking and screaming on their way to putting the belt on Jade in the first place. Are they not familiar with using the advantages of scripted pro wrestling to accentuate people's strengths? AEW has no problem with the less is more philosophy when it comes to Hook, a green wrestler who's become a superstar through short matches that hide his weaknesses. But here's Jade Cargill being forced into 15-minute matches seemingly designed to expose her. I smell sabotage. Also, look at how shredded and almost superhuman you have to be black and get a push in AEW. Kyle O'Reilly doesn't have to look like Jade Cargill to debut on the main event on television and get a win. Hell, he doesn't even need actual charisma. His complexion, internet wrestling bona fides, and most importantly, WWE background helped him skip the line. By the way, black excellence is always a preferred term I like to use when it comes to AEW's booking of black talent, or lack thereof. Black excellence. Words like diversity and inclusion and even representation are nice, but it's just too tempting of a distraction for the people who don't want to admit that AEW sucks at black excellence and integrating black culture on their television. The more it becomes about diversity, the easier it is to pivot away from just talking about all those pesky black people. I'll always support all types of people of color, but as a black stallion with a pro-black agenda, I'm not going to support diversity in ways that marginalize my own people. Big Swole specifically said she didn't see anybody who looked like her in positions of power in AEW. Big Swole is a black woman, and some are trying to counter her comments by pointing out how diverse AEW's roster is with all the other minorities. Yes, I see a lot of different POCs in AEW, but when it comes to black people, I really don't hear them at all. AEW's roster alone passes a diversity eye test, no question. But when it comes to black characters, black people in AEW are more invisible than Jay Lethal.
911, what's your emergency?
I'd like to report a missing person.
Okay, what's the name?
Jay Lethal?
Who?
Jay Lethal. He's an AEW Pro Wrestler, and he just disappeared from AEW TV on December.
You said he's an AEW wrestler.
That is correct.
What color is he?
Can I ask why that matters?
If we're going to be searching for somebody, we need as much information as possible.
Oh, right. Sorry. He's black.
Okay, well maybe give it a little more time then.
What?
Black people don't just get to be world champion immediately. These things take time. It's only been 3 years. I'm sure AEW has big plans for Jamal Lethal.
Nobody's asking for Jay Lethal to be world champion immediately. Can he be on television more than once a month? Maybe explain who he is and why he came to AEW?
I'm sure they'll get around to that. There's no racism going on at all.
I didn't say there was any racism.
WWE didn't have a black world champion for like 60 years, so AEW still has plenty of time.
Are you being serious right now?
Look, we need to keep this line clear for real emergencies. Please call back when you have one.
Bruh!
911, what's your emergency?
I'd like to report a missing person. Her name is Britt Baker. She's a white woman.
Oh my god, what? Why didn't you say something? Time is of the essence. We're sending dispatch out to Jacksonville right now. Tell me everything you know about her disappearance so we can have a story ready for CNN tonight.
Okay, Britt Baker's not really missing. This is the Jay Lethal guy from earlier. Seriously, how many black characters on AEW television can you honestly explain to me? Powerhouse Hobbs had a powerful statement in support of AEW and its creative process. Good on him. I'd rather hear and learn from a black talent like Will Hobbs than Toady Twitterfingers. But having said that, who is Powerhouse Hobbs? If I was in an alternate universe where black women actually watched AEW, and let's say I'm watching with my aunties and they ask me to explain Will Hobbs, what's he about? Well, I don't fucking know. Not that I cuss at my aunties, but he's been on the roster for over a year and they never let him talk or give him any type of showcase. The Give It Time people love to talk about how no black people are ready to be world champion in AEW. As if the big swoles of the world are advocating for a coup of black wrestlers to immediately have success at the highest level. Can we start with a promo? Preferably one where they don't have to call themselves bitches? If AEW even bothered to take the smallest steps in creating fully fleshed out black characters, there would be no excuses about how none of them are ready to be top stars. They always deal with our concerns like it's some hostage situation, and our demands are far too unreasonable no matter what those concerns are. Forget about a black world champion, AEW is light years away from that, but only because 3 years in, they haven't even executed step 1 with most black talent. Who are they? Tell him, Tommy.
Who are these niggas?
What's a Captain Sean Dean? What is he the captain of? Has he ever gotten the chance to explain that? And how come I can only learn the answer on my own time when AEW is under fire for their lack of black excellence? Sean Dean has a great story, and it's the job of both him and AEW Creative to tell that story to their growing audience. There's gotta be better ways to build this guy up than to GTS him into oblivion. Why does Lee Moriarty wear a tiger mask? Where's he from? Who is he? Why are they called Private Party? What kind of parties do they attend? Do they like cookouts, or are they more the eyes wide shut crowd? I don't know. What's their story? Should it really take 3 years to tell me? Are they even there to have a story, or are they there to help with diversity? An empty and all-encompassing word that has nothing to do with the betterment of black talent in AEW. Even in that brief and magical period when Leo Rush and Dante Martin were getting TV time, did we ever really get to learn about who they were and why they were feuding with Team Taz? I can tell you 5 things off the top of my head about Britt Baker that have nothing to do with what she looks like. She's from Pittsburgh, her finisher's a lockjaw, she's dating Adam Cole, she's a dentist, and she's best friends with Tony Schiavone. Now that's character development. Meanwhile, AEW is content in having a roster that looks diverse, but doesn't necessarily create any black characters. I have eyes, beautiful brown eyes. I can see black people in AEW. As a viewer, I just wish I knew more about who they are and why they're there. In fact, if a black person even gets to speak on AEW television, chances are they're either rapping or calling themselves bitches. AEW's main event picture and win column tell an entirely different story than Tony Khan's racial roll call. But at least Sean Dean picked up a win over MJF. I'm sure he'll be laying down for CM Punk this time next week, because in the words of Sean Carter, even when we win, we go... Hello, everybody. I'm Alfred Kunawa with Pro Wrestling Bits. I am joined by my good friend, Kalia Bradshaw. She is the Carson City Clerk. So I would like to first congratulate you, Kalia, on your role and being sworn in as the Carson City Clerk. And also great to see you again. Thank you for lowering yourself to do this with me, Kalia.
Stop it. Anything for you, Alfred. I appreciate the congratulations, but you know we go way back. It's all good.
I know you know that I'm an avid wrestling fan. I watch it all, love all the companies, WWE, New Japan, and a company called AEW, Kalia, All Elite Wrestling. Have you heard of AEW? Have you ever watched any AEW?
No.
Yeah, and that does check out, because as much as I do enjoy AEW, They have struggled viewership-wise with Black women. I feel like Black women are their lowest demographic. In fact, I think there are more Black women in my family than the amount of Black women who watch AEW. You used to watch pro wrestling, didn't you, Khalil?
I did. In middle school and high school, I actually got suspended for doing I went to a Christian school, so that was really inappropriate at the time. But it used to be way more entertaining from what I can remember. But I will say, with the Bella twins, I kind of got into the Bella army. And then there was the Black girl that was like dating the Samoan guy. I think they got married.
Yes, Naomi. Yes, her name is Trinity in real life. Naomi. She's one of their biggest stars in WWE to this day.
So I like her.
I feel like with some of AEW's biggest stars and the people who get the most TV time, it gets very monotonous. They take on the same look, around 6 foot tall, Caucasian. And I want to tell if somebody who does not watch AEW, I want to see if somebody who's kind of a naked eye, who's never really seen this product before, can tell the difference between a professional wrestler and a pro skater. And we're going to do this, Kalia, by playing a game called Pro Wrestler or Pro Skater. Look at us go. America's fastest growing game show. What do you think about this, Kalia?
That's simple enough. I think I can handle that.
Absolutely. We're going to show you just individuals and go with your gut. Try not to overthink it. I want to see if the Carson City Clerk can tell the difference between pro wrestler and pro skater. Of course, you're a very proud Black woman. You're a very pro-Black woman. I love that about you. You don't speak for all Black women, but as a Carson City Clerk, you speak for the entire city of Carson. Hopefully you get these answers right. For every answer you get right, Kalia, I will donate 25 cents to the city of Carson.
25 cents?
25 cents. You excited about that?
I'm going to need you.
Pro wrestler, pro skater, Kalia.
All right.
Here comes the first one. Give you a lot of fun. Pro wrestler, pro skater, this individual. What do we think? Is that a pro wrestler? Is it a pro skater?
He looks like a soccer player, to be honest.
Okay. Very athletic. He's got the headband, yes.
I'm gonna say skater.
Gonna say skater. Pro skater. This individual, his name is Adam Cole. He's got the tracksuit there. He does look very athletic. Is Adam Cole a pro skater? He's a pro wrestler, Kalia. Pro wrestler, his name is Adam Cole. Big star in AEW.
Sure, I guess that's to be determined. You should have showed me this picture. I mean, he was wearing like a tracksuit, for God's sake. It looks like
exactly. That's the thing. If I show you the picture in the wrestling gear, it's going to become too easy. Just like if I show you a guy on a skateboard, you're going to know he's a skater. So they have
at
to
least just like a tank top. I mean, that guy looked like he was on his way to the carpool. He's currently dating a doctor.
Her name is Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. She's a dentist and she's also a wrestler. She's one of their biggest stars in AEW. And she's the AEW Women's World Champion, Kalia.
And she's a dentist.
She's a dentist. So are you interested? She's actually a very, very compelling character. She does a very good job of being kind of the bad guy, playing a villain, kind of a brat, but also a dentist by day and a pro wrestler by night.
That's really interesting.
Pro wrestler or pro skater, Kalia?
This is definitely a skater. He's way too pretty to be a wrestler.
Way too pretty to be a wrestler. Is he a wrestler? He's a pro wrestler, Kalia. That is Orange Cassidy, an AEW star. He's a member of the Best Friends stable, as well as a stable called Chaos, or pro wrestling groups. You know, these pro wrestlers like to travel in packs. He defeated Chris Jericho 2 times in 2020. Do you remember Chris Jericho, Kalia Bradshaw?
I don't, but this is getting embarrassing.
No, it's not embarrassing at all. This is, I just want to see, and it looks like the naked eye has a hard time telling the difference between pro wrestlers and pro skater. I watch pro wrestling and I'm having a hard time doing that. So
he looks like a manager at Abercrombie.
The denim section, particularly, maybe Levi.
Yes.
But he's very fun. This guy, what he does is he's very lazy. He's very kind of like a sloth. So he doesn't really hit you like the wrestlers typically hit people. He'll just kind of tap your toe and he'll just kind of lazily touch the other wrestler and people go crazy for it. And I'm looking at the look on your face. It didn't seem like you'd be into that, Kalia.
No. He's also like not my zhuzh per se. So, I mean, his own face on his shirt, it's giving the OC narcissist circa 2004.
That is his thing. He does like wearing his face on his own shirt. You wouldn't wear a picture of your face on your own shirt, Kalia?
No, although I do have a hoodie with my citation from my dissertation on a hoodie.
Pro wrestler or pro skater, Kalia?
He's too old to be a wrestler, but it's also giving one of the original 12 disciples. I'm gonna say he's a retired skater.
Retired skater, what do we think? He is a pro skater. You're on the board, Kalia. Look at you go. That is Tony Alva, the 1975 USSA World Invitational Skateboard Champion. He holds a world record for barrel jumping, and he plays bass guitar for the band Scoundrels. A lot of these pro skaters are also musicians, so you nailed that. He is kind of the older fella. You see, he was very active in 1975.
I have one.
Tony? One. You've got one. And listen, you could make a rally here. We've still got plenty of time for you to come back and go on a streak. So you're starting to get hot, Kalia. Pro wrestler or pro skater?
Totally a wrestler.
Totally a wrestler. Wow. Why do you say that?
Look at the hair. Look at the attitude. Look at the fence. I think I've seen Daniel Bryan stand in front of a fence like that.
Wow. Interesting. Well, he is a pro wrestler. 2 in a row for the Carson City Clerk. Great job. This is Kyle O'Reilly. He just came to AEW from WWE, so we kind of like a free agency situation. Wow, he was the NXT Tag Team Champion. NXT is this brand. They're like the developmental portion of WWE, like where they go
like the G League.
Graduate. Yeah, like the G League. Kyle O'Reilly. So it sounds like you're into that.
Okay, maybe we're on the mend here.
Kyle O'Reilly, pro wrestler. You could tell right away. Pro wrestler or pro skater, Kalia?
I'm gonna say skater.
Skater. Is he a skater? He's a skater. That's Joe Brzezinski, sponsored by Red Bull, but then again, who isn't? And he was the winner of Mani Mania 2012. Mani Mania, apparently a skateboarding competition, and he won it. What do you think about that hair? Let's go back to that hair. What do you think about this? This is real hair?
No, this is very synthetic.
Yes. If he was a wrestler, would that get you to watch wrestling?
No.
Me neither.
Anybody that looks like me would get me to watch wrestling.
If you got a free Red Bull in exchange for watching him wrestle, would you watch him?
No.
Okay.
I have a Red Bull Connect already.
Oh, look at that. See, everybody's sponsored by Red Bull. Is this a pro wrestler or a pro skater?
This is a boy band reject. I'm gonna say wrestler.
You're going to say wrestler, and the gods are going to say pro skater. This is Jagger Eaton, which sounds like a wrestling name, doesn't it? Jagger Eaton placed first in the X Games in 2017, and he's also an Olympic bronze medalist.
He might want to look into a crossover there. He could do wrestling.
Yeah, I could see
it. The look.
Yeah, he's got the look. He's got the name. He possibly, he's an Olympian, so he's got the athleticism. I mean, this guy, Jagger Eaton. What about this gentleman? Is this a pro wrestler or a pro skater?
This is a skater. He looks like he was in like Beastie Boys or something.
He looks like he was in Beastie Boys. You think he's got a hot 16?
I'm gonna say skater.
Kalia's gonna say skater. Is she correct? He's a pro wrestler, Kalia. He's actually one of the most popular pro wrestlers right now. Get this. This is AEW superstar Hook. He's the son of a former ECW champion, a guy named Taz, and he's currently AEW's #1 merchandise seller. He sells more merchandise than anybody else. Would you buy a shirt with his face on it?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. You feel like he looks like a Beastie Boys reject? Is that what you said?
But he looks like 12.
He does have a baby face. His name is Hook. He's got kind of an ironic following. So he goes in there and he just beats the crap out of the other wrestlers. People kind of know that this is kind of, wacky a little bit to see this guy half people's size go in there and kill him. And I think that's what works. But this doesn't necessarily work for you, Kalia.
No. Actually, the other picture is far more flattering than this one here. I can't even take this serious.
Really? Even in his fighting gear, you think that he looks ridiculous?
He's just trying too hard. Like, look at his face. It's so scrunched. He looked more of a relaxed jawline in the other photo.
He has a very dedicated fan base. They call themselves hookers, and they're going to be coming after you for saying that, Kalia. I'm telling you.
I can't be associated with anything called a hooker. It's just not good for the image.
Completely understood. Especially for your campaign, right?
Yeah, this is not good. This is a
pro wrestler or pro skater? Oh,
this is a skater. Look at the hair.
Skater. She immediately said skater, and she is right. Kalia getting her first point. It is a pro skater named Kern Caples.
Is he from Huntington Beach?
He looks like his. I'm sure his hair looks like it is. He's an X Games silver medalist in 2013. Kalia.
Oh, good for him.
Kern Caples. Good for him. Young guy who's probably up and coming. Oh, what? Here comes a curveball.
This is embarrassing. The one black guy, I'm gonna get it wrong.
You don't know that yet? Pro wrestler?
I'm gonna say wrestler, but the haircut or lack of is not working for me either way.
Aaliyah with some criticisms on his hair care, and she's going to go pro wrestler, you said. This gentleman is a pro skater. That is Ray Barbie. Ray Barbie, innovative pro skater. He brought freestyle tricks to street skating. His debut EP was released in 2003, got kind of a jazz style. I actually listened to a couple of his songs. He's very talented. A lot of these skaters make music, and his music, I think, was my favorite out of all the skater music I heard. He's also sponsored by Fender Guitar and Vans. So Ray Barbie, probably, is there any barbers in the area of Carson that you can recommend to Ray Barbie?
Yeah, there's one not too far from City Hall, actually.
Shout out to all the talented Black skaters. Shout out also to all the talented Black wrestlers in AEW. Ray Barbie.
Well, good for him.
Good for Ray Barbie. Is this a pro wrestler or a pro skater? Don't overthink this one. What do we think?
You're trying to set me up. He's holding a skateboard.
I'm not setting anything up. So what is your answer?
I'm going to say wrestler because he has face paint.
You're going to say wrestler because he has face paint. Also has
They don't wear face paint in skating.
Well, who knows if they do? Let's all find out together. He's actually both, Kalia. So you did get this answer right. We're going to give you your 5th point. He is Darby Allin, an AEW star, one of their bigger stars. He's a former TNT champion, and he's also a pro skateboarder who's friends with Tony Hawk. So he does both. And you know what he does, Kalia? He goes to the ring and he's got a skateboard and he uses a skateboard as a weapon where he'll jump off, the rope with the skateboard. He's just a wild man.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Oh, look at, sounds like you're a little into Darby Allin, getting the best.
I mean, he kind of looks like Travis Barker, The
women love him. He does very well with women.
Yeah, he's not my cup of tea, but okay.
You don't date guys who have face paint on?
I don't date guys with face paint on. I don't date guys that look like him.
Darby Allin is a pro wrestler and a pro skater, ladies and gentlemen. So you got that right. What about this, Kalia?
Okay, he's a wrestler.
He's a wrestler. You knew that immediately. Is that a pro wrestler, a pro skater? He's a pro wrestler. That is Luchasaurus. One of my personal favorites. You see, he kind of looks like a pro wrestler. You look at him, he's got the mask, bigger guy. He's very athletic. He's actually a current AEW tag team champion and a former contestant on Big Brother season 17.
17. Okay. I stopped watching it a while ago, but I used to love that show.
Oh, I still watch Big Brother. I'm a super fan. This guy, his real name is Austin. He did very well on the show. And he
That's
was
not surprising that you're a super fan. You watch Big Brother After Dark. You get all the content.
Okay, not that much. I only watch the TV show because there are crazy people who watch Big Brother 24 hours a day, like on the live feeds, and just watch their entire lives. That's insane. I only watch an hour a week, 3 hours a week on CBS.
Okay, a little plug for CBS.
Yeah. Shout out to CBS and Viacom. I believe they're under that network. And Julie Chen. Final entry. You have 6 points, Kalia. So this could sway you to above 500, or maybe you'll stay right at 6. So you got about half the answers right. You did very well in this game. You did okay, on the pro wrestler, pro skater game. And this is the final one. Is he a pro wrestler or a pro skater?
He's a skater.
He's a skater, Kalia. Saying that he's a skater immediately. Is
Where
she
did
right?
you get this picture? I mean,
that is a pro skater. These pictures are very classified. I get these pictures from the streets, Kalia. Andy Anderson, pro skater, competed in the Mystic Skate Cup and Nitro World Games. He's also a 2020 Olympian for Team Canada. A pro.
Yes. Oh,
skater.
Canada. That's wonderful.
Canada. A lot of famous Canadian wrestlers like Bret Hart and the late great Owen Hart, Chris Jericho, who I mentioned earlier, is Canadian. That is a pro skater. Kalia, you didn't do too bad. I believe you got 7 right, 5 wrong. Again, about half.
What is it, like the Jets? I mean,
yeah, well, way better than the damn Jets, I'll tell you that. The Jets will be happy if they could win more than 7 games, but you did a great job on this game. So, Kalia Bradshaw, what do you think? What are your impressions on AEW, having seen some of their wrestlers and their stories?
Well, because I only saw one black man. So
yes, and he was a pro skater, and there are black wrestlers in AEW. They don't get the TV time that I feel they should. They're not featured as much as the people that I showed you, and I think that is one of the glaring problems that hopefully they're going to work to correct, because they could plug into an entire culture and really find a new audience and get a lot cooler by telling different stories, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's simple. In order for you to garner a more diverse audience, you have to show a more diverse cast on air? How are we supposed to become fans of characters that barely get time on TV?
Well, Kali, I want to thank you for doing the work that you do and also coming on here to discuss pro wrestling and play this game. You did very well, and I would like to thank you.
Of course. Good to see you.